Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and one of the biggest internet mysteries just got solved. Now, I think it's a great year for lost media. We already found a song that pretty much was escaping everyone's minds for a while until it was found in the more adult side of the internet, so to speak. And while I put up a bounty for Jeff the Killer to be found, whenever that is, it's a great thing to know that while unfortunately that isn't found, people have found out the actual address of the Backrooms. Remember when he talked about the Backrooms, which, you know, for quick context sake, one of the original posts was on old school 4chan's Paranormal X board, where this image was shared and somebody said, "You're not careful," and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas. You'll end up in the Backrooms, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights, and maximum humbuzz, in approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. Since then, the Backrooms has basically made appearances in multiple, standalone video games, entire web series, and has its own actual lore behind it, stuff that I've covered relatively extensively throughout the course of my time on YouTube, because it's just one of those things that's super interesting. Since the time of the creepypasta days, I have always said anytime you have a story with actual media attached to it, it just adds an extra layer of credence. And this kind of stuff, imagine getting lost in 600 square miles, million square miles of just this room. You would go insane within a matter of minutes. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's grab our almond waters and actually see where this image was found. So one of the original posts you could find over here was actually, inside these unsettling image message threads. And this is something you'll find pretty much all over 4chan or any image board, where usually on the paranormal side, people share these creepy images. And one of them was, in fact, this image right over here, unsettling images. So what had effectively happened was a group of individuals on Reddit, or actually more specifically Discord, which we're going to just use their actual term here, the virtual carbon Discord server. It actually contained a bunch of individuals that actually came together and went on an entire hunt through these image board archives to find the original location of this room. So let's actually start off with the individual Semliot. So 2 days ago, the earliest known appearance of the backroom image was a 4chan post from 2018. So they actually linked that specific 4chan board right over here, and this right here, which is archived on archive.mo, you'll find that this is another unsettling image thread. So what's more important over here is amongst all these images, what really stuck out was the file name. So on its own, the image is just what you would see anywhere on the internet, but the file name is 134.237.794.0136.jpg. Now you might be like, whoa, why does that string of numbers actually matter, Muda? So to give you an idea, we're just going to copy this strand of numbers, and I'm going to show you exactly what this means right now. So by copying it, we're going to actually convert it to Unix time. So to understand how Unix time works, this is Epoch's Unix time. Basically for Unix systems, right, the actual time that it started was January 1st, 1970. So this number is effectively the amount of seconds after January 1st, 1970. And if you convert it, it'll actually say that these milliseconds convert to Sunday, July 15, 2012. So to understand, when you're using any Unix-based system, if it can't really display time for any actual reason, what'll effectively happen is they will backpedal to this specific time. For example, on the PlayStation 4 system, when they actually had a reason where they couldn't show the Twitch install time, they defaulted to January 1st, 1970, the original start point of the Unix time epoch. This file name gives us an actual idea of roughly when it was actually generated and uploaded to this exact board. Or not uploaded, but actually when the image was created. So at some point in 2012, that's where you have to start looking through the actual archives. And that's what allowed our person, Semliot, to actually look through 4chan archives around 2012 in order to find if this image, this 640 by 480 62 kilobyte image, could be found. And after about a month of privately compiling threads that I thought looked interesting, I pasted them all onto the Backrooms search Google Doc ran by Liam. So to give you an idea, this is the Google Doc where people had actually looked through this entire image. So they were doing full image analysis of all the Backrooms possible. I mean, we're talking depth analysis. Everything is insane. We are talking looking through possible scenarios, regions of the world. And again, this is an extensive analysis. One thing you got to understand with the lost image, lost media community is that this is very much a community that is spearheaded by people that are very, very laser focused on finding very, very minute details. And because they're so good at it, that's why these stories end up being found. That's why these images end up actually being traced. So you can see the amount of locations where they've actually like started to look through and actually, debunked by themselves. One thing that I do want to mention is some of these locations might still be active, so it's actually ideal that nobody interact and nobody call these locations. It's never okay. That borderlines into harassment and whatnot, and you definitely don't want to get involved in that if you're in the lost media community for the best of intentions. So that said, part 2 comes in with Sarara, who is in the Virtual Carbon Discord server. And they were going through the list of threads that, Semliot had brought up. And they had started to look through image hashes. So as they describe, an image hash is essentially a unique code that 4chan and other sites use to identify images. Many of the hashes in the threads I provided were broken due to their old age. But some of the posts, including this one, actually had them available. After taking the hash of that post, Sarara began searching in other 4chan archives with it. Most have a hash filter in their advanced search options, in case a post had been archived on a board that wasn't covered by old.sage.mo. And to the surprise of everyone, she had actually found a matching hash in 2011. So looking at this exact board right over here, it actually led everyone back to March 8th, 2011, when this board was made. So this is the image right here, the Backrooms image, and if you look at the file name in this situation, dsc00161.jpg, exact same file size, exact same file dimension, but that name actually matters. So why does that name matter? Well, it's because it's indicative of a certain camera and its default file naming structure. So when you actually record video or photos on DSLRs like this one, for example, you'll often find out that each camera has its own automatic naming structure, right? And usually people don't really change that, and it's actually indicative if you used cameras or you've made enough content that you'll probably understand what camera made what based on how it names files. And that's exactly where individual Sarara had actually jumped into. So part 3, Perdidus Redux, actually says that the file name of that 2011 post, that was a major breakthrough because they claim that it was taken with a Sony digital camera, and that image on the TV board was saved from the direct source. So basically the search switched to trying to find matching copies of that specific file name somewhere on the internet. Didn't even have to be 4chan, could be anywhere. And while, there weren't any initial results or anything, what they did end up finding was something on Twitter. And they found a single tweet that went to 2019. So this exact tweet right over here, unfortunately, we can't see the original one. I can't see the original because the account owner limits or who views it. So again, for some reason, it's not showing. One of the actual images of one of the actual things mentioned was this. I probably found the source image here, hobbytownoshkosh.com/dsc00161.jpg. And they say the EXIF data, which is the embedded metadata in the photo, is from 2002. So this link right over here, if you actually try entering into it, the problem is it doesn't actually work, okay? So you can see that it says the page you're looking for doesn't exist. What do you do when a web page is dead? That's right, you actually go to the Wayback Machine. And this is where they ended up tracing it back to this exact page right here. The new Revolution Raceway updated 3/2/2003. So if you actually look in this page right over here, you'll notice that most, if not all, these images are actually dead. But we ended up finding it obviously in some way because the image has to exist somewhere on this page. So if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll find out, oh shit, May 3rd, 2003, baby. They actually found the original fucking image of the actual Backrooms. And to the left of it, you'll start to see other images, ones that I don't recognize beforehand. Absolutely. I recognize this one. I don't recognize this one. So here they say, above is the original view of the East Oval Room. Notice no windows are visible. You cannot see in the pictures the extent of water damage, but it was there requiring all this material to come out. And of course, the more you scroll down, they start talking about this actual building, and they start discussing more and more. And of course, unfortunately, there isn't any more images from this area to really understand. So they're kind of going over damages at this point. And that's pretty much where the actual point comes into. That's where the origin point drives in. So what was the next step into finding out the actual location of the Backrooms? Well, it was downloading this image and basically assessing the metadata to figure out where it was possibly captured. So at this point, an individual by Zaft ended up removing the file from the link, plugged it into the Wayback Machine to find that website, and they found that the address was 807 Oregon Street, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 54902. The URL plus the location, sans the actual, file name because it wasn't really important anymore. To locate Revolution Raceway, it was basically tracking it all the way back to an address in Oregon Street. So at this point, an individual traced it back to Oregon Street, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, 54902. And again, if you look into the actual place right over here in the city of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, you'll find out it's none other than this street right over here. Now, there's plenty of buildings, so it obviously would have to be like that, specific raceway that was mentioned on the actual page. But yeah, the Backrooms was detected all the way right over here, ladies and gentlemen. And if we actually kind of, if I can just expand this into the actual city view, you'll find out this is literally where we're at. A smaller town in Wisconsin. I don't know if this is super duper small, but yeah, Oshkosh right over here is where you would find the actual Backrooms. We did, in fact, trace it right over here. It's crazy, dude. So a bit of a follow-up on here, too. It's like people have added a brief section here, addressing the confusion. There are two connected buildings that occupy the space. Oregon Street. Roner's Furniture occupied 807 much of the 20th century until they closed down in 1994. Hobbytown was moving to a new location and decided to buy an address in 2002. During renovations, they took many photos, including the picture of the second floor of the address that became the Backrooms photo. They uploaded this picture to their blog 7 months later in 2003, and the renovations were completed by 2004. Fabulous Finds find address in 2010. Hobbytown remains address, and the Backrooms is now a RC car racetrack with an entirely different layout. And what's more updated is if you actually look at it right here. This is what it is. It's quite literally entering the world of pocket car racing from Yakuza. So, what have we learned, ladies and gentlemen? Give a bunch of Discord users enough time, enough of a drive, and they will find the most obscure locations from 2003. So, it honestly, looking at it now and tracing it, it honestly feels more simpler than it should have been. But this is actually the Backrooms, and for a while it was actually pretty much unknown to everyone where it would actually have been. And thankfully, we've finally come to the conclusion of one of these locations, one of these obscure locations, these very popular locations on the internet. And it's not just me that's happy, it's various individuals on the internet in that lost media Backrooms community. Of course, one individual already writes, "Sup, some ordinary gamers. Hello, my friend on Reddit." And you know what? Honestly, it's crazy, dude. Backrooms became a thing, had its entire lore, and finally we found out the original point of where this started. And it all began with a Unix time epoch that led to looking through default names. Honestly, what would have absolutely caused this to be completely lost forever is so simple. Had the person uploading this image to 4chan just changed the file name from the defaults, we might never have ever fucking found this. This is insane. So congratulations to the individuals involved in locating this down. Big round of applause to all of you. And honestly, another internet mystery put to rest. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.